Okay, so this is my 1977 Bolens G9 garden tractor, and it's a little not stock right at the moment. I'm diesel swapping it right now, so I'm gonna do a little quick overview of just the tractor. The engine will be a different video, but I'm gonna go over what the tractor is, how I got it, what I've done to it, and where it's at right now. So as I said, 77 Bolens G9. And this is one of two tractors I originally had. I got two of them for free, both in various states of not working. So I built them into one tractor with the stock motor, which is that motor right there. It's a single cylinder, 8 horsepower Briggs. And I used this tractor with that setup for a while until one day I came out to it and it wouldn't start. Now, I don't know what it is about that motor, but I've had a lot of carburetor problems with that motor. That's actually a Chinese knockoff carburetor on it right now. I don't think that's why it failed, because I had two of the OEM carburetors for this motor, because I got two tractors, so I had two of those motors. And I had rebuilt both carburetors at least twice, and none of them would work on the tractor. The tractor would not run, or it would not run right. So I just bought a $20 carburetor, slapped it on there, and it was fine until it wouldn't start, and I could not get it to start. So it sat on the side of the shop for a while, and then my uncle pulled that motor out of a Thermo King reefer, and he asked me if I wanted it, and I decided not to say no. So he brought it over, and I've worked on diesel swapping it since then. So now I'm gonna go over the tractor a little bit, front to back. It's got standard steering on it. That's the tie rod lying on the floor, because the tractor is 16 inches longer than stock to fit the new motor. So I gotta rig up a new tie rod. It is quite a bit heavier with the new motor on it. This tractor now weighs close to about 1,000 pounds, where it was about 675 with the stock motor in it. So I might do power steering on it. I don't know, but moving back. So the stretch I did is basically, these tractors are tube frame chassis. So I cut the stock tubes, and I just got this new pipe, and I put it inside it and bolted it through with all the normal bolts. And then I added some welds for reinforcement. And then the new motor mount is just I-beams, although I wish this was C-channel because I wouldn't have to cut these lips off. But it's two of these I-beams sat on top of that stretch pipe and then welded all together. So this is the only part of the I-beam that I didn't have to cut, because I had to cut it again over there to fit that side of the motor. But I've measured it in such a way where it looks offset down here, but that's actually because these motor mounts are offset. So the engine, the crankshaft, is right dead center in the tractor. So I had to do that. The engine is just held together with a couple of stick tack welds, because I have to get pulleys rigged up on the rear to drop down to where it would actually go. So here are the stock pulleys that would have sat on the stock motor. So this would be the pulley that goes down to your PTO. This pulley runs a belt that would actually go to a hydraulic pump. You could get hydraulic accessories, you could get a hydraulic lift on your mower deck, and then this transmission is actually a high and low range, but it's not built into the transmission. So this would be the pulley you'd use for your high range, and this would be the pulley to use with your low range. Corresponds to these two pulleys down here, which is your high range and your low range. So this tractor does have pretty big tires on it. These are not the stock tires. These are tires off of a Sears SS16, I believe. I just got them with the tractor because the old ones were rusted and the tread was worn. So these actually have pretty good tread on them. That's still dirt on it from when I was off-roading. So now moving back to this transaxle. This is a ridiculously heavily built transaxle. It is quite similar actually to the ones in the older Cub Cadets. So they're quite nice that way, although it is still a little bit of a belt drive. The Cub Cadets just have an actual disc clutch that heads down a drive shaft to the transmission, but this is a 3-speed, extremely heavy built. One thing that's interesting about this transaxle is that it uses a worm gear to drive the differential instead of a typical bevel gear. So that's pretty interesting. Here's the other side of the tractor with the injection pump on the engine and the starting solenoid. The engine overview will be a different video. The fuel system, which isn't quite done, but that'll also be a different video. So the seat is the stock seat minus that cushion, which is off of a snapper, but that's just so you know I don't get tetanus. So that's just a quick overview of the Bolens tractor itself. There'll be a different video that I'll make soon about the motor, because I know there's people that want information about the motor and they don't care about the tractor. So yeah, it's pretty cool.